From Oscar Gamble's Hairdresser, this is Kurt Berglund with a special tribute game for recently deceased former Oakland A's pitcher Matt Keough, a right-hander with a good major league career who just left us a few days ago. We're doing a tribute game for Matt to pay respects to his talent and his hard work and his career as a major league pitcher. Give you some information about Matt before we get into the game. I tell you a little bit about the game that we're going to use to do this today as well. Matt Keough pitched from 1977 to 1986. He did so with 5 different teams: Oakland, the New York Yankees, the Cardinals, the Cubs, and the Houston Astros. His career record was 58-84. He had a 4.17 career earned run average. Highlight of his career probably was his Game 3 start in the 1981 Division Series against the New York Yankees. In that game, he lost 4-0. He pitched into the 9th inning, and the A's lost that series to the Yankees. I'm sorry, the American League Championship Series. I think I said Division Series. It was not. They were in the American League Championship Series in 1981. The Yankees defeated them and then went on to the World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Matt was a good pitcher. We are using Strat Super Advanced rules. And the card that we are using looks like this one. It reflects Matt's best season, probably, the 1980 season, where he went 16-13 with a 2.92 ERA. He pitched 32 starts and 250 innings. He was part of a pitching rotation for the early 80s Oakland A's, managed by Billy Martin, which included Steve McCaddy, Mike Norris, Rick Langford, Matt Keough, and Brian Kingman, a starting 5 that folks thought were going to be the key to an extended A's run in the 80s. Unfortunately, all 5 developed arm problems and then subsequently ineffectiveness. But I want to share this with you. This is about Matt and the 1982 baseball abstract. Matt Keough and Mike Norris and Rick Langford and Steve McCaddy and Brian Kingman are usually the next words out of a person's mouth are, well, you know, if Billy Martin hadn't ruined their arms, what might have been? And okay, that's, I guess, fair, but I want to read this to you from what Bill James wrote in 1982, coming off of the A's very successful season where they made the playoffs under Billy Martin with these 5 starting pitchers. And I want to share with you to give you an idea of Billy Martin's role in Matt Keough's success. We know that Billy Martin was at least partly responsible for the workload that these pitchers endured. But let's look at something else here that was going on between Billy Martin and Matt Keough that I want to share with you. Bill James writes, Matt Keough pitched a 3-hit complete game victory against the Kansas City Royals last September 11th, in the midst of which a strange and marvelous thing happened. Keough struggled some early, but his outfielders took good care of him. And after Oakland scored 3 runs in the 6th and 3 more in the 7th, he took to the mound in the 8th with a 6-1 lead. His first 2 pitches missed the strike zone, and Billy Martin popped out of the dugout and headed for the hill. By the time Martin crossed the line, Keough's cap was pumping up and down like a bobbin-head doll in Freddie Prinze's routine, saying, I know, throw strikes, big lead, throw strikes. But Martin didn't stop. He strode up to the mound like an angry father, wagging his bony fingers up and down and gesticulating vigorously at Mike Heath's mitt because of 2 lousy pitches. At that moment, any other manager in baseball would have been reclining in the dugout, might have been bestirred himself to shout a few words of encouragement or glance nervously at his bullpen. Martin reacted immediately and with uncomfortable force, and thus this comic opera scene, complete with stage gestures, with Keough saying, "I can do it. I know what I'm supposed to do," and Martin responding, "Well, goddammit then, do it. Do what you are capable of doing." But when you look at the Oakland A's, what do you see? You see a whole team of people who are doing what they are capable of doing. You see Ricky Henderson, who is a little guy and years away from being a polished hitter, but what he can do is run, and he will go into a crouch when it gives him a strike zone about the size of a cigarette pack, and if you don't throw it in there, he will walk and drive you nutty on the base paths, and if you do, he will slap it past the third baseman, who has to play about 25 feet in to keep him from bunting 450. You see Tony Armas, who will strike out once a game and hit a 3-run homer to win a game for you anytime you make a mistake. You see Cliff Johnson hitting his home runs and Rob Piccolo scooping up every ground ball that he can get to. More successfully than any other manager, Martin has been able to make an entire collection of athletic young bodies into an expression of his own will. Like everything else Martin does, this is the short-term strategy, for each of the players in truth has his own will, his own desires and goals and ambitions, and while he may allow those to go into remission for a while, they will return to the fore within a few years. Matt Keough doesn't know it yet, but he's going to get awfully tired of having his butt chewed every time he doesn't do exactly what Billy Martin thinks he ought to do. Successful long-term teams like the Dodgers and Royals and Yankees and Phillies are built on a successful merging of individual wills into group strength, not on the obliteration of anything that opposes the manager's master plan. But tomorrow may be a dream or a nightmare, or it may never be. If you want to win today, Billy Martin is the best manager there is. And I wonder, looking back at Matt Keough's career, now that he's passed, I wonder if Matt would agree with us, with Bill James, and say that, you know what, my career did flame out, but for a moment there, Billy Martin was getting the best out of me I could possibly be. And that's not altogether bad, I don't think. All right, with that said, let's talk about the game. The game that we're going to sim today is using Strat Super Advanced Baseball, cards and dice, as you can see. This game replays an actual contest from May 17th, 1980, in which the Oakland A's took on the Toronto Blue Jays. Matt Keough pitched 14 innings in this game to win 5-4. The game took place in Toronto at Olympic Stadium in 1980. And the starting lineups look like this for the visiting Oakland A's. In left field, leading off, Ricky Henderson. Batting second in center field, Dwayne Murphy. Batting third at first base, Dave Revering. Batting fourth at third base, I'm sorry, I got these out of order. Batting fourth at third base is Wayne Gross. Batting fifth in right field is Tony Armas. Batting sixth, the designated hitter Mitchell Page. Batting seventh, the catcher Mike Heath. Batting eighth, the shortstop Mario Guerrero. And batting ninth, to complete a very hard-hitting double play combination, Rob Piccolo at second base. That puts Piccolo at second and Guerrero at short, and yikes being the operative term of bewilderment to any A's fan paying attention on May 17th, 1980. All right, talking about the Toronto Blue Jays, Dave Stieb was the opposing pitcher, the home pitcher in 1980. His record was 12-15 with a 3.71 earned run average in 32 starts. He pitched 243 innings. The lineup for the homestanding Toronto Blue Jays goes like this, or went like this. Alfredo Griffin, and if we're talking about middle infielders that can't hit and somehow got to lead off. Here's Alfredo Griffin. There's no truth to the rumor, as far as I've been able to tell, that Alfredo Griffin had his manager's children tied up in his basement, but you have to wonder. Leading off at shortstop, Alfredo Griffin. Batting second in right field, Bob Bailor. Batting third in left field, Al Woods. Batting fourth, the Toronto DH, Otto Velez. Batting fifth, third baseman, Roy Howell. Batting sixth, first baseman, John Mayberry. Batting seventh, center fielder, Rick Bosetti. Batting eighth, the also recently departed Damaso Garcia, playing second base. And batting ninth and doing the catching, Bob Davis. Those are your lineups for May 17th, 1980, and our tribute game. Alrighty. Let's look really quickly right here. One momento, por favor. All right. Okay, so here we go. We are ready to start. Stepping into the batter's box, Rickey Henderson for the 1980 Oakland A's. The pitch from Dave Stieb is a ground ball to second base. That's Damaso Garcia, and he will throw to first to John Mayberry for out number one. And Rickey takes himself a seat. Batting second, stepping in the left-handed batter's box, Dwayne Murphy. The pitch to Murph is a fly ball to right field. We have a defense check. Defense check. The right fielder for Toronto is Bob Bailor. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Yes, no, I'm right. I'm right. Bob Bailor is a 3 and an E4. That is going to drop in for a base hit, and Dwayne Murphy is actually going to take 2 on this one and has himself a double. Bailor was a jack of all trades, sort of a master of none, and let that ball get by him for a double. Dave Revering steps in. He's the left-handed hitting Oakland first baseman in 1980. Dwayne Murphy takes his lead off second base, and the pitch to Revering is a line shot gloved by Mayberry, and that is 2 down in the first inning. And Wayne Gross steps in with 2 outs. And Gross hits a fly ball to center field. Rick Bosetti has plenty of room for this one, and that retires the Athletics in the top of the first inning. We go to the bottom of the first, no score in Toronto, and the top of the order, of course, for Toronto, leading off Alfredo Griffin, a switch hitter in the left-handed batter's box. And Alfredo hits a fly ball to center field. That's going to be Dwayne Murphy country. And we'll see if Murphy makes an error, and he does not, and that's 1 out in the first inning. Batting second, Bob Bailor, who I remember having on my Stratomatic team in 1981 because he could play everywhere, and I thought that was pretty cool when I was 15 years old. What I didn't know when I was 15 years old, excuse me, what I didn't know is that smoking is a bad thing when you're 15. No, that's not true. I wasn't smoking when I was 15. Although my doctor did recently tell me that I'm not getting enough tar in my diet. The .311 on-base percentage for Bob Bailor is what I wasn't paying attention to in 1980 and in 81, and I should have been. All right, the pitch to Bailor from Matt Keough is a pop-up. A mile high, and Mario Guerrero is calling everybody off. And when it comes down, Bob Bailor's going to be out number 2 in the first inning. And Al Woods steps in to face Keough, and he takes a called third strike. And Matt Keough has himself a 1-2-3 first inning in our tribute game. That ends the first. We go to the top of the second, and it's Tony Armas facing Dave Stieb. And Tony Armas hits a fly ball to left field, and that's going to send Al Woods way back, but not far enough. And he's going to make the catch for out number 1. Had a chance to go yard on that one, but didn't do it. Mitchell Page stands in. I'm not giving you stats on these hitters. I got to get to that. Ground ball second base, that's Garcia. He's going to flip to Mayberry, and that's out number 2 in the second inning. Mike Heath, the Oakland catcher. The Oakland catcher hits a comebacker to Stieb, who's going to flip to Mayberry, and Stieb has himself a 1-2-3 second inning, and that will retire the side. Go to the bottom of the second. We're scoreless in Toronto. I'm going to make a quick dice change. Just because I can. I'm going to make a quick dice change here and get things a little bit more under control for myself. There we go. Okay. Now we're ready. That's much more pleasing. And if you know anything about me, you know it's all about the aesthetics. All right. Otto Velez leading off the second inning. He's the cleanup hitter for Toronto. He hit .269 in 1980. And this one is a ground ball to shortstop. Pounded at Guerrero. He's up with it, and he throws across to Dave Revering for out number 1. Roy Howell, who will become a Brewer in the next season, and I'm a Brewer guy. Roy Howell in 1980 hit .269 with 10 homers and 57 RBIs. And he strikes out swinging on a Keough fastball. That's 2 down. And John Mayberry stands in, Toronto first baseman, and he hit .248 with 30 bombs in 1980. And he strikes out swinging, and that retires the Blue Jays in the second. Matt Keough, our tribute guy today, has 3 strikeouts in 2 innings. Pretty nice start for him. 6 up, 6 down in 2 innings. We go to the top of the third. We're scoreless in Olympic Stadium, and Mario Guerrero, Rob Piccolo, and Ricky Henderson will be up at a minimum for the Athletics this inning. Guerrero pounds a multi-hopper to Alfredo Griffin, who's going to throw over to Mayberry for out number 1. Rob Piccolo. Peach hits one to right. Not deep, though, and Bailor's going to take this one, and that's 2 down. And Ricky Henderson drills one to the gap. It's in right center. This one's going to get down, and it's going to be trouble. All the way to the wall. Ricky is around second. He's not stopping. He's going all the way to third before Bosetti can get it to Garcia, who runs it back into the infield. And we've got a 2-out triple for the Athletics and Ricky Henderson. Oakland has a major scoring threat with 2 outs here in the third. Dwayne Murphy is the batter trying to drive in Ricky. And that's hit deep to left field. Al Woods to the wall. His back is to the wall, and he's got it. Al Woods saves the day one more time. After 2.5 innings, we are still scoreless in Toronto. because of Matt Keough's good work in the first 2 innings, we've got the bottom third of the Blue Jays order. It's Bosetti, Garcia, and Davis. The pitch is ball 4 to Rick Bosetti, and he is aboard with a walk here in the third. Damaso Garcia is coming up. Oh boy. Damaso Garcia in 1980 hit .278 in 543 at-bats. I want you to pay attention to this, people. In 543 at-bats, he walked 12 times. That means he had 555 plate appearances, not counting his sacrifice bunts or his hit by pitches. He walked 12 times. That makes Rob Piccolo seem patient, and that's not easy to do. Wow. All right. That's it. I can't handle it. Garcia's going to lay down a bunt, see if he can move Bosetti up, and this is disaster. This is disaster. It's popped up, grabbed by Revering. Revering is going to tag, no, he's going to flip to the second baseman, Piccolo, covering, and it's going to be a 3-4 sacrifice bunt double play. Yikes. With 2 outs and now nobody on, Bob Davis. Let's give you an idea of what Bob Davis was doing for a living in 1980. Bob Davis is hitting 9th for the 1980 Toronto Blue Jays. That's like getting cut from your T-ball team. Bob Davis, in 218 at-bats in 1980, hit a crisp .216 with 11 doubles and 4 homers. His on-base percentage was .260, ladies and gentlemen, because he walked just as many times as Damaso Garcia did in 1980. 12. The pitch to Bob Davis is a ground ball to third. That's Wayne Gross. And that retires the side. It's kind of a strange 9 up and 9 down, but that's what Keough's got. He's faced the minimum here in the ball game, first 3 innings. Dave Revering is the Athletics first baseman. He's facing Stieb for the second time, and he hits a grounder to Garcia, who throws to Mayberry, and that's 1 down. In the fourth, it's Gross, and Armas is on deck. Strike 3 called on a breaking ball by Stieb. Gross strikes out, and Tony Armas hits a ground ball to short. That's Griffin. Griffin throws, and that retires the A's in the fourth. We go to the bottom of the fourth. It's now the top of the order for the Athletics, or for the Blue Jays. Alfredo Griffin hits a pop-up, first base. Dave Revering barely in fair territory, and that's 1 down. Bob Bailor drills it to left. That's way back, but Ricky's got room. He didn't lose that number, and that's 2 outs. And Al Woods stands in. Al Woods hits 1 deep. Right field, Armas back, and it's gone. Elvis has left the building. Al Woods has hit a solo homer, and the Blue Jays are on the board 1-0. In 1980, Al Woods hit 15 of them, and the Blue Jays lead. That's the first hit of the ball game for Toronto. Otto Velez strikes out swinging, and that retires the Blue Jays in the fourth. But thanks to an Al Woods homer, the Blue Jays lead after 4, 1-0. In the Athletics' fifth, It's Mitchell Page, Mike Keough, and Mario Guerrero scheduled for the Athletics. Ground ball first base, grabbed by Mayberry. He's going to flip to Stieb for out number 1. Mike Keough, the catcher, stands in. He's 0 for 1 today. And that's a comebacker to Stieb. That is a comebacker to Dave Stieb. And Stieb fumbles the ball, it gets away, and Heath's going to reach on the error by the pitcher. Yep. We got an E1. So 1 out and 1 on in the top of the 5th. And Mario Guerrero, as long as we're talking about futility, let's be an equal opportunity offender. Mario Guerrero hit it 239 in 381 at-bats. 381 at-bats. Mario Guerrero got some managers. Billy Martin was one of them. Although I don't think Martin was managing on May 17th. He may have been. He was hired in the summer, I believe. But Guerrero got 381 at-bats, and he drew himself 19 walks. Ground ball shortstop, that's Griffin, Garcia, Mayberry, and that's an inning-ending, rally-killing double play for Mario Guerrero. If that doesn't make you want to go to the water cooler and take a baseball bat to it, I don't know what will. Roy Howell leads off the bottom of the 5th for Toronto. It's Howell, Mayberry, and Bosetti. Here comes Roy, leading off the inning against Matt Keough. Roy swings and misses. That's 1 gone. That's his 2nd strikeout of the day. Mayberry is also 0 for 1 with a strikeout. He's up now in the left-handed batter's box. Ground ball second base. That's Piccolo. He throws to Revering, and that's 2 down in the 5th. And here comes Bosetti. Rick hits a line drive, snagged by Guerrero, and that will retire the side. We are through 5, and it's 1-0 Blue Jays in our tribute game to Matt Keough. See if the A's can get some damage done here. It's Rob Piccolo, the last man in the order. The last man in this order is also like getting cut by your T-ball team. He hit 240. In 271 at-bats, Rob Piccolo 273 plate appearances. We're not counting bunts, although Piccolo was a good bunter. In 273 plate appearances, Piccolo walked a number that rhymes with 2. Here we go. Piccolo standing in against Stieb. And that's a line drive base hit for Piccolo, of course. And he's aboard. Ricky Henderson stands in. Nobody out. 1 man on. Piccolo isn't going anywhere. And the pitch to Ricky is a walk. Stieb now has 2 men on with nobody out in the top of the 6th. Dwayne Murphy is an accomplished bunter, but he also hit 274 in 1980, and he walked 102 times for an on-base percentage of 384. He ain't bunting. Line drive, caught by Garcia. No chance to double anybody up. With 1 out now, it's Revering stepping to the plate. Piccolo's on second. Ricky Henderson's on first. The pitch to Revering is hit on the ground to Griffin. Alfredo Griffin had tons of range. He also made tons of errors. Excuse me, but he didn't on this one. He throws across the diamond to Mayberry to retire Revering, and the runners move up. So Piccolo is now at third. Ricky is now at second, and there's 2 men out. Excuse me. That means Wayne Gross has a chance to give the Athletics the lead. He's the Oakland third baseman and cleaning up, if that's the word I'm looking for. In this game, he hit .281 in 1980. He had 14 bombs, drove in 61. Left-handed hitter facing Stieb. He's 0 for 2 today. Ground ball at first base, that's Mayberry. Going to flip to Stieb, and that will retire the side. The Athletics threaten. They get 2 on with nobody out, but do not score. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's the Blue Jays 1, Oakland nothing. Garcia, Davis, and Griffin. Garcia hits one down the line. It's past Revering. It's going to get to the corner. Bounces around for Armas. By the time he gets it back in, Garcia's on second base with a double. He hit 30 of them in the 1980 season. Bob Davis is a .216 hitter, but he does bunt well. And so we're going to ask him to lay one down. He squares the pitch. He gets it down. And Revering gloves it. Flips to Piccolo, and that moves Garcia to third base with 1 out. Alfredo Griffin, also a good bunter. The Oakland A's are going to play in at the corners. Blue Jays are going to have Griffin swing away. Garcia takes his lead off third. It's a fly ball to left. Ricky Henderson is camping under it. He is a 0 throwing arm. Garcia is tagging at third. He's a 1-15. He wasn't held, so that makes him 1-16. There's 2 outs, 1-17. He's going. The throw is coming home. And it is not in time. Alfredo Griffin hit a sacrifice fly, and Garcia scores with the Blue Jays' second run of the game. It's 2-0 Blue Jays. Bob Bailor will stand in against our tribute guy, Matt Keough. And Bailor hits a line drive at Gross at third. He gloves it, and that retires the side. But the Blue Jays add a run. They now lead 2-0. Dave Stieb was an excellent pitcher in 1980. Actually, he was excellent throughout the 80s. And this 2 runs is a lot to give him against this Oakland lineup. So they got some work to do. For Oakland in the top of the 7th, it'll be Tony Armas, Mitchell Page, and Mike Heath. Facing Dave Stieb, Armas swings and misses on some Stieb gas. 1 down. Mitchell Page. Pitch to Stieb. From Stieb to Page is a comebacker. And Stieb made an error before, but he does not make an error now. He throws out Page to Mayberry, and that's 2 down in the 7th. And Mike Heath is the catcher. He's 0 for 2 today. He did reach on the Stieb error back in the 5th. He had .243 with a crisp .280 on-base percentage, but we're going to let him hit. We're not going to get into that Athletics bench quite yet. Wow. Heath, the pitch. Ground ball second. That's Garcia. Damaso is an E19. Let's see if he handles this one. It's a 6. and he kicked it. Garcia makes a one-base error. And now we're down to Mario Guerrero. It's the top of the 7th. Oh my God. I can't do it. I can't let Mario Guerrero bat. I'm sorry, Mario. I don't even think your mom would let you bat in this position, so we're looking to the bench. And we're going to see what we got here. Looking for a left-handed pinch hitter to try and drive the ball. Oh, boy. Oh, my God. Oh. Well. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to do Mike Davis. Mike Davis was the man on first base when Kirk Gibson hit his famous home run in Game 1 of the 1988 World Series. And he is going to pinch hit right now for Mario Guerrero. This is how where things have gotten. Mike Davis in 1980 hit .211. He had an on-base average of .262, and he slugged .284. And he's looking better to me than Mario Guerrero. I'll let that speak for itself. Mike Davis, the pitch. Mike Davis just lined one to this gap in right center. And Bosetti's going to have to go get it. They're going to hold Heath at third. Mike Davis is on second with a double. And Rob Piccolo is coming to the plate. Rob Piccolo with his .240 batting average and his .245 on base percentage. No, we're trying to win this one for Matt Keough. And sorry, Rob, I love you. You were on the 82 Brewers, but nuh-uh. Batter we're going to use is Dave McKay, who was a backup infielder in 1980. He's going to pinch hit for Piccolo here in the 7th, and he's going to go in and play second base after that. Who's going to play shortstop? I don't think we really want to think about it at this point. Oh, my God. No, we're going to do something different. We're going to have McKay play shortstop, but he's still going to bat for Piccolo. He does come through in the clutch. Dave McKay is hitting for Piccolo because he has a .244 batting average and a .283 on base percentage. But don't worry, fans. He slugged .313. So the pitch to McKay, he strikes out swinging, and that does it for the Athletics in the 7th. So McKay will be the new shortstop in the bottom of the 7th. And a young man named Mike Edwards will be the new second baseman. He'll bat 8th. The problem with pinch hitting in the 7th, sports fans, and the reason I rarely do it, is because those replacements are going to come back up in the 9th, more likely than not. And then what are you going to do? Okay, so Davis is done. He got his hit. We're going to the bottom of the 7th. Keough is going to face the meat, if that's the expression I'm looking for, of the Blue Jays order, Al Woods, who homered to give the Blue Jays a 1-0 lead in the 4th. Woods is 1 for 2. Then he'll face Otto Velez and then Roy Howell. Al Woods steps to the plate, and he hits one to center, but not deep. Dwayne Murphy is going to get there, and that is 1 down. Otto Velez stands in. He strikes out. 2 down. And Roy Howell 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. And if you remember Roy's Brewer career, that sounds about right. Ground ball shortstop, that's Dave McKay, the aforementioned Dave McKay. He gloves it, he throws, And he gets Howell at first base. So Roy does not strike out, but he does make the third out of the inning. Matt Keough made 2 mistakes, and he's paying for both of them. The Blue Jays are leading 2-0. We go to the top of the 8th. It's the top of the Oakland order. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen right here. Dave Stieb is still on the mound for the Blue Jays. Ricky Henderson was a monster in 1980. He had 303, only 9 home runs, but he walked 117 times. And he stole 100 bases and got caught 26 times. His on-base average was .420, and he slugged .399. Getting that out of your leadoff man in 1980 was no easy task, and Stieb just walked him. And, oh boy. It's going to get action up in the Toronto bullpen. And when I say bullpen, all right, so Paul Mirabella is going to get up and start throwing. And I know who I'm looking for, but I can't find him. Oh, no, I'm wrong. No, Mirabella's not doing anything. Jerry Garvin is going to start warming. Not Fred Garvin, male prostitute. Jerry Garvin, left-handed reliever. And boy, oh boy. I don't know who was closing for Toronto. I thought it might have been Tom Buskey, but it wasn't. So, we're going to go to, wow, Joey McLaughlin is going to get up. So it's going to be McLaughlin and Garvin warming up. As per Strat Super Advanced rules, they've got to be warming for 2 batters before they can be brought in the game. Garvin's the lefty, McLaughlin's the righty. And Stieb is hoping they don't have to go to the bullpen. So Henderson's on first. Stieb is a 0 holding. I think they got to send Ricky. A double play would just about end the ball game. We're in the top of the 8th. There's nobody out. Ricky Henderson's just drawn a walk. And Bob Davis can't throw it all. So they're going to hold Ricky, but Ricky's going to try for the jump. He is a AAA if you know your Stratomatic. That doesn't happen too often. Ricky does not get the jump, and so they're not going to send him. Dwayne Murphy. The pitch is a swing and a miss for strike 3, and Murphy is gone. Dave Revering, also the tying run at the plate. Stieb checks Henderson, the pitch home to Revering. Ground ball, second base, Garcia. Griffin, Mayberry, double play, and they're out of the inning. And good news for Blue Jay fans, the bullpen can sit down. All right, we go to the bottom of the 8th. Still Matt Keough. He's going to face Mayberry, Bosetti, and Garcia, hoping to hold things right where they're at. It's 2-0 Blue Jays. Mayberry steps in. He's a left-handed batter and has power. Ground ball shortstop. That's McKay. McKay throws out Mayberry. And let's just say he got him by more than a couple steps. Rick Bosetti, 0 for 1 today with a walk. Ground ball first base, that's Revering. And Dave Revering makes the play for out number 2. He did it unassisted. And now we come to Damaso Garcia, who hit into a disastrous bunt double play in the third, but doubled and scored the Blue Jays' second run in the sixth. With 2 outs, Garcia trying to get something started. He hits one in the air to left. Ricky Henderson comes in a few steps and makes the play for out number 3. We're going to the 9th. Stieb is still on for Toronto. He's throwing a shutout. Give you some numbers on Stieb before we start the 9th inning. Davis pitched 8 complete. He's allowed 4 hits. He's walked 2 men, both of them named Ricky Henderson. He has struck out 1, 2, 3 men. And he will face Gross, Armas, and Page in the 9th. Jerry Garvin is getting back up, and so is Joey McLaughlin. If the A's are going to win the tribute game, they got 3 outs to do it. Wayne Gross leads off. He's a left-handed batter against Stieb. Wayne is 0 for 3 today with a strikeout. Ground ball third. Howell gloves it, if that's the word I'm looking for, and he throws across the diamond to Mayberry for out number 1. Tony Armas. Try and give him some juju here. He had 279 with 35 homers and 109 RBIs in 1980. He walked 29 times. These guys were swinging. Ground ball, shortstop, Alfredo Griffin. Alfredo, it ticks off his glove and rolls into short left field. It's an error. It's an E6 on Griffin, and Armas reaches. Mitchell Page becomes the tying run at the plate. Wow. Mitchell Page has the power to do it. He even took a walk in 1980. I wonder how his teammates felt about that. Mike Heath is in the on-deck circle, but bad news for Mike. Even though he's reached twice on an error, he may get pinch hit for if it gets to him. Mitchell Page stands in. Armas is on first. There's 1 man out. Stieb's looking for a double play ball. Fly ball to right field. That's deep. Way back. Bob Bailor is going to make the play on the warning track and get the ball back in. So with 2 outs, Mike Heath is the last chance for Oakland, and that ain't happening. So we're going to have a pinch hitter. Armas retreats to first base, and we need a pinch hitter. And yikes. Holy God. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Orlando Gonzalez to pinch hit for Mike Heath. Orlando Gonzalez is a left-handed pinch hitter, first baseman, outfielder. In 1980, he had 243 with a 329 on-base average. And he stands in against Stieb. The bullpen's ready, and the Blue Jay fans hope it doesn't come to that. Stieb to the belt. He checks Tony Armas at first base. And the pitch is a chance for Bob Davis. Well, let's see if he can handle this. It's going to be a pop-out unless Bob Davis drops the ball. Bob Davis did not drop the ball, and that is the ball game. Orlando Gonzalez pops out to Bob Davis, and the Blue Jays win the game 2-0. All right, so let's talk about the line score first of all for the victorious Toronto Blue Jays. They scored 2 runs on 2 hits. They made 3 errors, and somehow they won the game. The Oakland Athletics of 1980 scored no runs. They made 4 hits, and they made no errors. The winning pitcher is Dave Stieb. He went the whole way. 9 innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 1, 2, 3, 4 strikeouts to his credit. And our tribute guy, Matt Keough, also pitched a complete game, 8 innings, 2 hits. 2 hits. Struck out 4, 5, 6 batters, walked 1, allowed 2 runs, both earned, and a home run. Matt Keough, you did okay. You had a good career, and you gave it 100%, and I hope that we did you proud with this tribute game. You certainly pitched well. Fans of Matt Keough, I hope this brought back some memories for you and that you had a good time. Please click like and subscribe to my channel. If you have a tribute game you'd like me to do, I can certainly work to make that happen. Just drop me a message in the comments and I can get to work on those for you if you would like. Thanks again for watching. My name's Kurt Berglund. So long, everybody.